The sky is a twilight tone of beautiful blue before sunrise as we leave the twinkling lights of a still waking Leh for Siachen Base Camp, 200 kilometers away. It's a winding climb for 40 odd kilometers to Khardungla, La meaning pass, which is between the Leh and Nubra valleys. It's one of the highest motorable roads in the world. Khardungla at 17,982 feet. While we want to admire the top of the pass, with the temperature close to minus 15 degrees centigrade and thin oxygen levels, it's difficult to spend more than 10 minutes in the open. It turns from chilly to crispy with the sun out and blue skies around as we travel down and through the Nubra Valley. This road was on the old silk trading route that connected eastern Tibet with Turkestan via the Karakoram Pass. At an average altitude of about 10,000 feet above sea level, this cold, arid desert has lofty mountains on all sides. An army convoy that is probably coming from somewhere along our destination Siachen passes by. Border Roads Organization workers are maintaining and improving connectivity constantly. The Leh Siachen Base Camp journey takes about 6 hours. The military feeds and services its Siachen Glacier operations from here. This is literally where the last road has to end and treks and air sorties to the forward posts have to begin.
Course! Hilwat! Gentlemen, Silvan, Kilasar Martkale, 1200 साहब, 24 याशी साहब, 443, 469, Adinab, Danny Staff, 200 साहब, किस?
The base runs the Siachen Battle School for pre-induction training, orientation and acclimatization for troops before they are deployed. Helipads serve as critical Indian Air Force air bridges to the posts at higher inhospitable heights. Before deployment at the forward posts, there is rigorous, comprehensive pre-induction training. We witness some aspects with groups of first week, second week and third week trainees assembling at the physical training ground early in the morning. Each group treks and trains for hours every day. The more weeks of experience they have, the further up the glacier they go.
The first week what we generally get our body accustomed to the environment, how are the normal routine things which are going up. So daily walks to the glacier and then coming back, a basic idea, overview of all the diseases that can happen here, the effects of high altitude that can happen. So all these things are covered there in the first week. Second week is all about like the basic mountaineering craft, which is required to go while inducting. We are there when we are reaching the post, so it is required. So it is divided into the rock craft skills and the ice craft skills. Then the third week is all about the endurance marches. They keep on happening on all the Saturdays that are there. And the last glacier march is almost around 24-25 kilometers. So that builds up the endurance.
Marching on in the skies above, critical Indian Air Force sorties to and from the glacier have been going on all morning. We'll film them from the helipads a little later. The name Siachen comes from the local Balti language, Sia being a species of wild rose that grows in the area and Chen meaning abundance. There may be no roses to be seen in winter, but there is an abundance of training for the treacherous terrain. The glacier's snout or lowest end can be seen from a vantage point above the base camp. It is there that streams emerge forming the Nubra River. That flows 90 kilometers before it meets the Siachen, which in turn drains into the over 3,000 kilometer long Indus River. Lower down at base camp, as we head to the training areas on the glacier, our cameras catch a glimpse of the ant-like movement of the trainees in the distance. The zoom lens gets a closer peek. It takes us a while to reach the week 1 trainees. We walk on the rocky ground, past water frozen in its last eddy, and currents waiting for the summer to get movement back into their limbs. After over an hour of trekking, the first week trainees do repetitive exercises to prepare for crevasse crossing at higher altitudes. The tired muscles and minds are then coaxed into some vigorous and vocal competition in team spirit.
Kuch, 1 leg, 10 times, 50 kadam, 50 second, 30 kadam, 10.
When we started, it was like the peak winters. We started there in the month of February. So it was like extreme cold. The fresh snow was there everywhere, so it was difficult while going. But yes, when we are going as a team, so everyone works in a manner that is required by the team. Like if someone is lagging behind, so he is pulled up.
आ जाओ ना, वो तो आ तो रहा है, वो तो आ ही रहा है, आप क्यों नहीं आ रहे हो? वो आ रहा है, मैं देख रहा हूँ। आप रोप छोड़ोगे? आप रोप छोड़ो, आपको बोल रहा हूँ मैं, रोप छोड़ो, चलो।
If someone is having any kind of problem, so he is given medications. So it is all that camaraderie which has been built up through the years of training that we do and everything.
Number 8, up कैसे हो?
We also get a display of how rescue is done for someone who is incapacitated in a fall.
मैं खुद टैंकर हो गया, साथ ही विक्टिम को भी एंकर कर दिया। अब मुझे ब्लेक करे। 1 2 3 up।
Meanwhile, the second week trainees have a much tougher course to cover. After leaving base camp, it's the moraines that have to be crossed. That's the mass of rocks and sediment carried down and deposited by a glacier, mostly as ridges at its extremities. Though teamwork is critical for survival, the solitude of the soldier is personified by the silence on the glacier march. At these heights, wasting even a breath is criminal. And then comes the hard ice wall test.
उस्ताद ये ठीक है उस्ताद कैरे में लगाना है ना लगा रहा हूँ
कितना मारा कर टिपन मार कर टिपन मार टिपन
टेस्ट फॉल से भी हार्ड है ना ये, वैसी है ना ये तो वही टेस्ट फॉल जितनी हार्ड है ना ये। तू आगे आ सकता है ना, तो आ जाओ ना, थोड़ा सा तो आगे आ जाओ, थोड़ा सा एक कदम आगे आ जाओ, बस 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 ठीक है। Say hi. चलो चलो आगे बढ़ो, आगे बढ़ो आप।
The Siachen Battle School's toughest display of the day is the 4-point ice wall climb.
All clear, clear turtle lock.
एक सैनिक का चयन उसकी शारीरिक फिटनेस पे आधारित होता है, साथ ही उसका हर स्टेज पे मेडिकल होता है और उसकी पुरानी मेडिकल हिस्ट्री के साथ उसकी बारीकी से मेडिकल जांच की जाती है। उसके बाद प्री इंडक्शन ट्रेनिंग में उसको स्नोक्राफ्ट, ग्लेशियर ट्रेनिंग, आइस क्राफ्ट और रॉक क्राफ्ट जैसी ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है। उसके बाद ही फाइनली ट्रूप्स को पोस्ट के ऊपर इंडक्ट किया जाता है। हम यहाँ पे सांस लेते हैं, उसमें ऑक्सीजन की मात्रा कम है। जो हम खाना खाते हैं उसको पकाने में काफ़ी समय लगता है। जो हम पानी पीते हैं वो एक पिघलती हुई बर्फ़ है। कि चुनौती वास्तव में कठिन है। हमें गर्व है कि हम इस अग्रिम चौकियों पर भारत की सीमा में तैयार खड़े हैं।
The Siachen Glacier is one of the most inhospitable regions in the world. Sliding down a valley in the Karakoram range, the glacier is 75 kilometers long and varies in width between 2 to 8 kilometers. It receives an annual snowfall of more than 35 feet. Blizzards can last 20 days. Winds reach speeds of 200 kilometers per hour. Temperatures plunge to minus 40 degrees centigrade. No wonder it is also known as the third pole. So what's a day in the life of the troops after their tasks at the forward post?
Maintaining morale at such a height, there are many challenges there. It is not just the altitude or the weather. It is that the mundane activities every day. So there are things that we do, most of the times it is that teamwork only, that we are cooking food together, or we are involved in some training activity. We are involved in some matches are there, so we are involved together sitting there. So these are the things that we do. Everything in the evening, we are mostly involved in the recreational activities like watching TV, or now the posts are connected through good communication networks also. So we are like people are calling home also, and we have got our internet facilities also working at that point. So calling home and these kind of things are okay. And again the drills for the next day. The same kind of drill are repeated almost every day.
Siachen is part of India because of the accession of Jammu and Kashmir in October 1947 and the 1949 Karachi Agreement, which describes the ceasefire line beyond map grid reference NJ 9842 to be running northwards to the glaciers. Pakistan's cartographic attempts to join NJ 9842 to the Karakoram Pass on the India-China boundary, a straight line moving northeast instead of north, sending mountaineering expeditions and preparations to militarily occupy it were foiled when India launched Operation Meghdoot in April 1984, preempting Pakistan's Operation Ababil. The Indian Army occupied the Saltoro Ridge to secure the glacier and the territory to its east. This deployment at commanding heights dominates Pakistani positions much lower in the valley west of Saltoro Ridge, blocks infiltration possibilities across the passes into Ladakh. Its northernmost position at Indrakol overlooks the Shaksgam Valley, illegally ceded to China by Pakistan, and denies Pakistan access to the Karakoram Pass. Without Indian presence, Pakistan will have access to the Saltoro Ridge and the glacier. That would also ensure security of the Shaksgam Valley for China and put a stamp on its control. For Pakistan, the glacier would provide direct access to China, a bridge from the occupied northern areas to Chinese-occupied Aksai Chin. The line dividing India and Pakistan's militaries, the actual ground position line AGPL, has Pakistani troops nowhere near the Siachen Glacier. Indian deployment also enables the army to monitor Gilgit and Baltistan. One of the reasons for the Kargil war was also Pakistan's objective to cut off supply links to Siachen with the aim to force redeployment of troops. The Siachen Glacier is hence a critical strategic triangle that India has wedged between Pakistan and China. As we leave the base camp to spend the night, we also travel along another critical strategic road. The Border Roads Organization is completing the Sasoma, Sasirla, Sasir Brangza, Gapshan, Daulat Beg Oldi DBO road. It is a connectivity link that is the world's first glaciated road. It is an alternate access to the Darbuk Shiok Daulat Beg Oldi DSDBO road. A 345-meter bridge over the Shiok was also completed in 2023. The new access helps the unimpeded mobility of troops, supplies and equipment to the Army's northernmost base, DBO, along the line of actual control. It is also shielded from across the LAC, making it less vulnerable to attacks.
We are presently at kilometer 12 on road Sasoma Sasir Brangza. Historically this road aligns with the ancient Silk Route, which was the conduit of economic and the cultural exchanges in the yesteryears. Presently this road connects for the locals the Nubra Valley with the Shiok Valley, and militarily this is the alternate alignment to the classical DSDB or the Darbuk Shok Daulat Uldi route.
Parts of the alternate alignment were technically the most difficult to build. The BRO is using geocells, three-dimensional expandable panels made of polymer to stabilize the road and increase its load-bearing capacity.
This road passes through Sasedla Pass, which is an altitude of around 17,500 feet. So particularly the stretch, 5 to 6 kilometer stretch at the top, that was very technically challenging. The problem there is that there is no base beneath. The snow is there, and as the vehicles fly, no matter what you do, as the vehicles fly, it keeps melting, and there is no firm base. So we have used certain creative techniques there. We have used stone base with ILC interlink chains as a base so that it is firm, and over that we have used new age technologies such as geocells, frost blankets, geomembranes, all those things. And now, as you know, that blacktop is not sustainable there because it is very cold, and the bitumen, the material gets brittle. So we are using ILCB, interlinked concrete blocks. So that all those things we are doing to maintain this road. And beside that, the problem is that it is a very high attrition rate for the man and machine. In a very constrained season we have to do. So I think the men have been really pushing hard to meet their targets, and they have been doing a great job.
We take the road to the Siachen base camp again the next day. To document the Indian Air Force air warriors and their helicopters, a critical lifeline for those deployed on the glacier. Flying in and out from the glacier takes place from the helipads here, and choppers that are based in Leh and Thois also continuously fly life-saving sorties. One Mi-17 is loaded with supplies and takes off for the forward posts. A second one returns after its mission. The Mies take heavy loads to airdrop for the troops on the glacier. gladdening many hearts on the frozen frontier.
Basically, when we are there on the post, so there is a set routine. It's in a week, set things are there. We do, like, we get up early because there are air maintenance helicopters which are to come. They get us the oil, the rations, all the necessities which are there. After that, this is somewhere like the first helicopter, it comes at around 6 o'clock, 6:30. So it is basically you have to maintain the helipad. So we get up at around 4:30 and then maintain the helipad. After that, after the sorties are over, like there are some posts which are not maintained by helipads also. So there are belay wires which are put into the post, and it's like a trolley basically. So we send all these items up. So there is a routine that after the air maintenance is finished, the belay work starts.
After refueling and checks, the choppers leave for their home base with a return load and passengers. Giving us a perfect picture to capture.
Not sure whether I got the shot or not.
Among chopper pilots, there's a saying: if you haven't been deployed in Ladakh and specifically the Siachen Glacier, then you have not arrived. The 114 helicopter unit has arrived countless times in its history. We documented them at the Leh Air Force Station in the Himalayan Frontier episodes 6 and 7 too.
The operations that we are doing at this highest battlefield, it is a testament to our unit's motto, which says we do the difficult as a routine and the impossible may take a bit longer.
The impossible also achieved because of the motivation and technical expertise of those behind these flying machines.
The dedication and sincerity of these men is visible by the commitments and kind of rectification that we have done in the glacier. There are many instances of that, and to quote, I will tell you that we have changed the engine. The entire engine of this aircraft was changed at Amar helipad, and that helipad is at 20,500 feet. And we have changed the engine. That particular helipad is just near the LOC. And in one of the instances, they have also changed the landing gear. The entire skid was changed. It was done at 18,500 feet. So you can understand the professionalism and dedication of these men behind the machine.
Though the single-engine Cheetals can carry much lesser loads than the bigger helicopters, they are able to operate at the extreme flight envelope limit of well over 18,000 feet and land on matchbox-sized helipads on the glacier.
My unit is a 114 helicopter unit. We are also called as the Siachen pioneers, primarily because we were the first ones to operate in Siachen, and ours is the only unit which is distinguished of operating in the Siachen Glacier under Operation Meghdoot for last 40 years. We have been engaged in one of the largest and I'll say the most complex air logistics mission over the most treacherous terrain, that's of the Siachen Glacier, which is also known as the third pole.
At the third pole, both troops on the ground and pilots face acute mountain sickness, high-altitude pulmonary edema, high-altitude cerebral edema, snow blindness, sunburns, hypothermia, chilblains and frostbite. The 114 HU itself records over 7,000 military and civilian lives saved in its history. And we are witness to another of their medical evacuations of a soldier from a forward post.
Every day we undertake various operations like casualty evacuation, air logistics, recce missions on a day-to-day basis.
And in terms of the skills that you need because of the terrain, the altitude, the weather, the temperature.
In all the missions that I just mentioned, we operate at heights above 18,000 feet. temperatures as low as -40 degrees and winds exceeding 10 to 15 knots. Operating in these conditions require a lot of skill, and only the best of the trained volunteer aircrew get to be cleared as captains to fly here in this terrain.
Even the best need a guardian. That is OP Baba, who it is believed protects the troops from the enemy and the weather and forewarns them of danger. He is so revered that a formal report is given to him before and after every mission. At his temple complex, there are statues of deities surrounding his murtis. And as is the practice in the military, soldiers of all faiths pray here. The origin of the belief is said to be that a soldier named Om Prakash single-handedly beat back an attack on Malaun post. And even though the legend of OP Baba, quote-unquote, remains obscured in the mist and frozen mass of the glacier, his bunk is always made here. (1,188) personnel have been killed till date due to the extreme weather conditions and terrain, and in enemy attacks and shelling after India's capture of the glacier in 1984. 2024 marks 40 years since then. The shelling stopped after the India-Pakistan ceasefire in November 2003, and there is no place better than the War Memorial to remember those who gave their all and to those who continue to put their lives on the line on the critically significant for India Siachen Glacier.
Bye.